talked before about how telecommuting and remote working is not as easy as people think it's going to be or hope it will be. And the reason for this are numerous challenges that are often not an issue when you're physically present in the office. Some of these challenges are actually normal ongoing issues even when teams are working together on location, but when you're remote, these problems simply just get amplified. Some of these are also primarily about interacting with others, but some are related to how you are able to just simply get stuff done, which matters even for folks who are a solo entrepreneur or not even really interacting with others that often. I believe the value in exploring this topic is when you're aware of these challenges, these potential challenges that you're up against, or all the things that could be holding you back, you can now begin to take appropriate action to improve those things. Really, in order to get better at anything, you need to recognize where you need to improve in the first place. But not everybody is going to be dealing with the same challenges or even, working with those challenges in the same way, even have that issue. From my experience in working remotely though, anybody in this kind of position is going to need to work on something. There's going to be at least one of these areas that is going to be a trouble area that you can just want to get better at. The main one right off the bat is simply technology. Right? So when you're working remote, you're going to be relying on your computer, your equipment like that, to be able to just simply interact with other people, or maybe your phone. Some people just get by with just having their phone, but chances are your computer is going to be a big piece of how you're getting stuff done. And that means your internet, bandwidth, and stability there, how fast and capable your computer is, how reliable it is to be able to run different applications and software that you need to get stuff done, and your audio, video quality. If you're doing live streams, if you're doing video calls, Zoom calls, that sort of thing, all those pieces fit together that are going to enable you to get stuff done. Professionalism is certainly a piece that matters. So, your visual appearance, what kind of clothes you wear, you look professional enough to be considered, like you're getting stuff done, what your environment looks like. Does it look like a messy dorm room, or is it, seem like an office area where people are able to focus? Are you available? When people reach out to you, are you around? Can they see that at least get an idea that you might be going about your professional day? Are you responsive? That kind of ties into availability, but when people do reach out, do you get back to them? Do you demonstrate that you are around? Those matter. And technology and the professionalism, they tie into what I see as like four other critical areas that are all kind of really connected in some really important ways. So communication is a big one. And this, communication can be troublesome even for people, like I said, working in an office together in a physical place. But with communication, when you're remote, telecommuting, using things like video calls or maybe primarily email or chat, it's very difficult to determine the tone or intent of a message that somebody's sending you. This can be an issue even with people in a relationship. It doesn't have to be about work. If you're in a long distance relationship, or maybe you're just texting your partner or spouse or something during the day while you're both at work. Messages can be misconstrued. That can be a problem, right? Comprehension certainly matters though as well. So if there's critical details for something that needs to be conveyed and it's just not done so thoroughly, that can create issues, right? So communication really matters. Collaboration is important. So if you are working with a team remotely, but even if you're like a solo entrepreneur, you might want to collaborate with clients or people that you're helping in that capacity, trying to schedule things. So one of those perks of being able to work remote or telecommuting is being able to fit in your schedule for life. But if you can't schedule times to collaborate with the people you need to help or work with, that creates issues, right? And that also speaks to interactivity. So sometimes you actually need to collaborate very directly with those people on your team. Maybe you're working on a proposal together. Maybe you're actually fixing a problem. You're all programmers and working on the same piece of code or program or something like that. Being able to collaborate effectively is going to be critical for those things. Productivity matters. We all have to think about productivity with respect to our professional jobs and that sort of thing. And distractions are a big problem for productivity, right? There's external distractions, so things that could be going on around you. Maybe you're in a place that has a lot of music going and you can't concentrate, or maybe there's, kids are home because they're sick and they're running around or crying. That makes it tough to get things done. But there could be internal distractions too. Maybe it's all in your head. Maybe procrastination is just creeping up at you. Maybe you're not focused. You're having trouble really diving into what you're trying to get done. That impacts your productivity. And those are the things when you're working from home or even at someplace like a Starbucks that really creeps up and you have to deal with. Culture matters. Definitely if you're working as part of a team at a company and everybody's remote, how do you bond? How do you create those connections? There's ways to do that. There's ways to make that happen. Sometimes it's about, picking some times out of the year to, or whether it's once a week or once a month or throughout the year to meet up in person. Sometimes when people are working completely remote, that never happens. And trying to make a bond with the team you're working with is important. It matters because not everybody's having a great day. Sometimes people are struggling. Some people have trouble. And when you have a sort of camaraderie, it really helps to show how you're all in it together, how you're trying to work for a common goal, and trying to find ways to enable that bonding is going to help with that, to foster that. Certainly, an idea of devotion to the team or the company you're with it may sound a little crazy, but the idea, I don't want to use a word such strongly as like loyalty, but the idea is, if you're not around the team all the time, if there's these disconnects between you and the people that you're working with and for, when times get tough or when there's other opportunities, there's less things holding you together, tying you to that, right? And it's the same with like a long distance relationship. That's why they're so challenging. When you're not physically present all the time, the bonding and those connected feelings, they just don't build up. So those are all pretty important aspects, and they're challenges in terms of making remote work and telecommuting really be successful. And like I said before, not everybody will have these same challenges in all these areas. But across the board, I think they're all pretty important aspects becoming successful while working this way. It's not really a binary thing. You're not either just successful or not successful. It's a spectrum, right? So the more of these areas you do well, I believe you're going to find yourself overall being more capable and really excelling in your work.